All right, today's Friday, April 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Going to do a quick market review on a couple of stocks that I've been watching that I think are still pretty good value here, even though the S&P and the Nasdaq have had a pretty good recovery over the past couple of days. And then we're going to talk through, so we'll do that towards the end of the call, but then we're going to talk through some momentum trades that we have on, and then also some contrarian reversal trades that we have on. And first contrarian reversal trade that we're looking at here is on the S&P. So we are long the S&P. It's a relatively small position here given the amount of volatility from the lows, and kind of these swings intraday are pretty large. Like the ATR here is pretty wide, so it's hard to get a big position on here. So we're in a small position on S&P to go long. We can see from the Commitment of Traders report down here that S&P currently commercials are max long based on our look back period. Large speculators are at 15, and then the small speculators are 8, so they are shorting based on our look back period. And then the other position that we're kind of hedging this with, I won't even really call it a hedge, it's more of the same trade, but we're taking half of each size, is the yen here. We are shorting the yen. And we could have a little bit more size on this trade just given the stop. I've got the stop maybe above yesterday's high, so a little bit more size there, but still it's kind of a half and half trade with the S&P and then the yen short. And we can see the short setup here with commercials max short from the Commitment of Traders, and then the large and small speculators are max long here. So basically the way Commitment of Traders works, you have speculators that typically buy into strength, so they'll buy into any major price moves up. They are typically trend followers, so they're on the move like this, we're going to see them start to cap out getting long. And then eventually, when there is a reversal, they're typically on the wrong side of the trade, and that's where the commercials have been buying up and going in the other direction. So that's the other trade that we're in right now. And one other trade that we're in from a contrarian reversal standpoint is crude oil, which is in a small profit now. Similar standpoint here, we've got commercials at 86 on our index from 0 to 100, 100 being max long and 0 being max short. We've got large specs at 19, small specs at 1. So that's a trade we're long as of Wednesday, the 16th of April down here. Not too much price movement. We typically get in around the close price, and we're a little bit higher here. Not really too much movement. It's been kind of consolidating here. But there was crude inventories on Wednesday of last week. Inventory number was higher and the price still closed up, and then it had this monster candle the next day, so that is some good price action indicating we want to stay long on crude. And then momentum, so we're going to show, and I'm going to put in my momentum indicator here. Ignore the sizing here, this is just so that I know the signal is there, but we have a buy on gold, which I've actually added to down here on the candle from earlier today. We actually got in around 32.90, and it currently is trading at 33.30. So we add a little bit of size here. We're a buy. This is based on moving averages, and then it's also based on volume increasing as people are buying into these moves. And the surprising part of this as well is the commercials have been buying into gold, even though it's been on this meteoric rise. Typically, you'll find the speculators chasing these moves higher, but we didn't see that in this case. The speculators are actually max short, or at least the large speculators for gold. They're max short, which is very interesting. That means there's probably a lot more possibility for us to run higher on gold once these guys start buying into it, if ever. It is possible that gold reverses. Anything can happen here, but it is interesting to see commercials max long here and speculators selling into gold's strength that it's had. The other momentum indicator that I've received is silver, which has just entered and has had just a little bit of downward movement. I've got a wider stop on this. I've back tested silver, and it seems like having a wider stop is always a little bit better. And then the last trade along is Bitcoin, which got triggered on Wednesday. Contract rolled, we're in, and we're up in a small profit here. So pretty interesting strength and price action we've seen on Bitcoin, despite the market really heading much lower. So if we compare this to the S&P over the past, I don't know, let's just say through this year, right? Let's see if we can get this a little wider. So right around there, I want to say is beginning of the year. Yep. So if we look from the beginning of the year, I'm going to just get this other thing off here. And then we're going to try to find S&P. I think that's S&P, yeah. We're actually pretty well in line with the market, which is interesting. But if we look at more recent strength, Bitcoin's starting to outperform the S&P. But I guess if we go further back, Bitcoin's really outperforming here, and it has stayed above the S&P. But through this year, it's definitely, at least during the recent dip, let's say in end of March into April, we have started to outperform the market, which is really good. But yeah, we're triggered a buy on Bitcoin. We are long that position as well. Now, other positions I want to quickly highlight that I find interesting, even at these prices, even though they've kind of bottomed and are, having a move up. I'm going to start with Coinbase, which has had some really good price action lately. Kind of pull this chart in. I think Coinbase here is a really good opportunity. It's trading at 210 today. It's traded as low as 150 in the recent times. And then we've traded at up to a high of 340. So I'm long Coinbase in a certain amount of size just in my general portfolio. AMD, same thing here. I would love to see us test the top of this channel at 120 and break higher. We do seem to be finding some support here and some bottoming out, which does actually trend back to October of 2023. We've got kind of a trend line here of support, which we're coming into. Baidu is another one, Chinese stock, which I would like to get out of towards the top of this channel, around 100 to 105, just given the kind of China trade and trade war going on. But I still think Baidu is a good buy here. We've definitely seen a bottom at around 75, and we're heading towards 100 now. And then Coursera just had earnings, and it's testing the top of this channel as well. I took some off at around 850 today after the earnings when they opened this morning, and then I would probably take the rest off if we test 10 and even head towards $11. And the reason I actually think $10 would be good to get out of this, if we pull this in, and let's pull this up, I think Coursera, I mean, if we look at this price action dating back to some of the support levels turned resistance here, we had a ton of chop down here, right around $10 and change. This is support, ripped higher, broke below it, resistance, and now it's coming back up to it. So I would probably get out of the rest of this position around $10, but yeah, this is what I'm looking at right now. Only other chart of interest that I'm watching is Cocoa Markets, which seems to be bottoming, but it's really hard to get in this trade. It trades significant size, so one position is just a very large volume here, and I feel like I've currently missed this move down at the $7,600 mark, and now it's trading at 94. This thing could have a parabolic move like it has in the past. Definitely possible here. I mean, just look at this chart from 2023 to 2024 to 2020 end of 24. It's just crazy parabolic movement. It used to trade a lot more simple, and now it's just having these monster moves. So, yeah, let me look at this chart actually. I'm wondering why this is saying it's negative. There's no way that the price was negative. I'll have to look at that on another platform at some point, but yeah, just a parabolic move. Imagine catching this trade there at, I don't know if this is accurate, 300 to 9,000. Crazy stuff. But yeah, that's what we're looking at for this week. I will put out the weekly report in the Discord, and we will talk again next week. Thanks for listening.